Who will the new NFL playoff teams be this year? 33 straight seasons with 4 new playoff teams. So we're going to go ahead and pick those 4 new playoff teams with the NFL Live crew. Let's go ahead and let them start the video.
Because as we look ahead to the NFL season, there is a trend worth noting. For each of the last 33 years, at least 4 new teams have made the playoffs in the NFL that didn't make it the year before.
Yes.
So
let's see the contenders.
At the playoff teams from last year, on the left, the 2 columns on the left, the teams that made the playoffs last year, and then the 2 columns on the right here are.
Okay, let's take a look. So on the left is last year's playoff teams. On the right are the teams who have not been playoff teams. So we're going to pick 4 of those teams. So obviously for 4 to come in, 4 have to go out. Okay, so let's take a look. Looking at the NFC first, I think Philadelphia is guaranteed. I think as far as guaranteed, I would say that's the only guaranteed team. Because Frisco has so many question marks with the quarterback. If it's Sam Darnold, are you comfortable saying that Sam Darnold is guaranteed to make the playoffs? I certainly am not. If it's Trey Lance, I don't know. I love San Francisco, but Tampa, they might be the worst team in the NFL, right? The Giants, they were a fake team last year. Are they going to do it again? Can Brian Daboll continue winning with smoke and mirrors? The Vikings, Fugazi, 13 wins last year. Their win total this year is 8. I don't know. Seahawks, right? Can Geno do it again? A lot of question marks. So let's look at the teams that didn't make it. Saints, I think are probably going to win the division. So I would say the Saints are in, the Bucks are out. The Lions are a team where they could be in, Vikings could be out. The rest of the NFC, I would say no. So let's go Saints and Lions. Okay, so now Tampa and we'll say Tampa and the Giants are out. Well, I think Minnesota will be better than the Giants. I think the Giants will slide. On the AFC side, Bills, okay. Bengals, yes. Ravens, yes. Chiefs, yes. Question marks with the Chargers. The Dolphins, I would say the Jags, but their division is so bad, so we'll put the Jags in there. In the AFC, I think you could look at the Jets with Rodgers and the Broncos with Peyton, I think are the 2 teams that could go in. So if we have to do 4, I'll do Broncos instead of Chargers and Jets instead of... Man, I don't really want to knock the Dolphins. But I guess, if I'm trying to decide between the Dolphins and the Bills, that's tough because I do like the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins a lot. I hate like the Jags have to be in there because I think they're going to win the division. So, oh man, that's brutal. I guess I have to. Because it's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say the Dolphins are going to be better than the Bills. If I was guaranteed a full season of Tua, maybe, but that's a lot of variables too. So I guess I'll do that. I guess I'll go. My 4 new playoff teams would be the Broncos, the Jets, the Saints, and the Lions. And my 4 teams out would be the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Giants, and the Bucks.
Are teams that did not. So, Damian Woody, you're up first, and the question here is, who are the 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that will make it this year?
Yeah, Dan, so I'm going to go with the New York Jets. Let's see what else I got.
All right.
Just froze. Okay.
The Detroit Lions.
All right.
And this was the last one I struggled with, but I'm going with the New Orleans Saints to come out of the NFC South.
All right.
The New Orleans
3 out of
Saints
4
come out of the NFC South. So he said, Diana, he said Jets, Steelers, Saints, and Lions. So what do you think of Damian's list?
Steelers is interesting. Steelers, it's not bad because Tomlin never has losing seasons, but tough division. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, you can say the Broncos have a tough division too. So I mean, I understand that. I don't hate the Steelers. If I had to pick 4, or if someone had to pick 4, I could see going Steelers over Broncos. But I just trust Russell Wilson and Sean Payton way more than I trust Kenny Pickett and Mike Tomlin.
I think it took him a long time to get to it, but I actually have to agree with him. Even though, I'm more interested to see what he has as the teams that aren't going to make it. I have a feeling that we're not going to be in sync here.
Yeah, you got to knock 4 teams out, D. Wood. So who are those 4?
The knocking out is kind of easy because, like, if you put the Saints in, you have to knock the Bucks out, right? So you can kind of. The hard part is the wild card teams. But when you're replacing division winners, which I think he's doing, I would assume he's doing with the Lions and the Saints, that part's easy.
Made it last year.
Because I think you knock out the same teams. Like I think if you put in his AFC teams, he has to knock out the Chargers because he can't knock out the Jags. So I would assume he's going to knock out the same.
I believe with the Miami Dolphins, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yep. The Bucks,
the Minnesota Vikings, and
okay. So we talked about that too. So the Vikings, if he has the Lions winning the division, then it's between the Vikings and the Giants. I think the Vikings are going to be better than the Giants. He thinks the Giants are going to be better. That's controversial, but
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Diane, I know you're bullish on the Minnesota Vikings, so that's where we're going to disagree at.
That's not my issue. That's actually not it. My issue is the Miami Dolphins.
Oh.
What about their team right now do you think is going to hold them back from making a playoff run this year? They are built to win this year.
Yeah, but again, it's like a Sudoku puzzle. If you have the Bills winning the division, and if you have the Jets as the second best team in that division, then you have to drop the Dolphins with more losses. Like every team, this is something that people do a lot when they preview the NFL. They'll have like every team winning 10 games. What they should do is you should like go through the schedule, and as you pick a record, you should go into the other teams and put losses or wins wherever you put it. Because then you see a true representation of how the season plays out. Every team can't win 10 games. Even if you think the AFC East is good, every single team in the division can't be an 11 win team. It just can't happen. The Dolphins do have the most variables, I think, because of Tua. Because of Tua's injury history, I think you have to sit back and say, if something goes wrong, are the Dolphins a playoff team? No, they're not. So I love the Dolphins. I actually was thinking about this week getting a Dolphins Super Bowl ticket. I got to make my Super Bowl futures bet soon. I think the Seahawks are going to be one, or at least win the NFC. I think I'll do NFC champions and not Super Bowl, just so I can get out of the bet earlier. I think I'll do Seahawks in the NFC and Dolphins in the AFC. I also love the Ravens. I might get a heavy slice of the Ravens, including Lamar Jackson for MVP.
They are built to win this year, but is their quarterback built to last this year? That's the question I have. That's been something that Tua has struggled with since coming into the National Football League, is availability. I agree. Miami has a ton of weapons offensively. We know with Vic Fangio, the new defensive coordinator, what he should bring to that defense. They should be a lot better than what they were. But can the quarterback stay on the field? That's the big question.
Yeah. That is 100%. A big question.
Look, I saw this Miami Dolphins team. I saw them give the Buffalo Bills a run with a third-string rookie quarterback last year in the wild card round. So while, you want Tua. They want Tua. They're going to have the most success with him under center. But maybe their system can come up with some magic if he's not out there.
Maybe.
I don't think so. I mean, that's such a... I mean, we're not going to give that a lot of time here. But anytime you're saying, like, hey, maybe the third string, the third string, the backup, it's like, okay, the season's shut. If Tua is not on the field, take him out. Take the team out. That's the whole point. No one is saying the Dolphins aren't built to win. But if you have to remove teams and put teams in, you do want to remove the teams with the most variables. And I think the Dolphins have the most variables out of those teams.
Tua's health, the biggest question around the Dolphins, just impossible to answer it from this far out. Hopefully he gets through the year healthy and we see what they are with him.
Let me sidebar. If I would have left the Dolphins in, I would have taken the Bills out. It was one of those two because of how I was explaining the division and the wild card and all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Tua plays all year. I would not be surprised at all if the Dolphins are really, really good and Tua is an MVP candidate. On the same token, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Bills took a step back this year. The Bills have underperformed seemingly in 2 years in a row. Stephon Diggs is missing practices. He seems to be pissed off for no reason. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a step back. And if they do take that step back and they're the third team in the AFC East, I could see it. I almost took them out. But I don't want to be disingenuous. I don't want to just say like a hot take, like Dolphins 1, Bills 3, GTFO Bills, if I don't truly believe it. So that's why I took the Dolphins out.
Under center. Okay, Mina, you're up. You're 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, but will this year.
Mina is I like Mina as an analyst. I think she's really good. I wouldn't be surprised at all if she agreed with me 100%.
Yeah, I think the Jets and the Lions are the two obvious choices. Damien and I share those. I also share the Steelers, though. It's a team that was, still knocking on the door.
Okay, Falcons. So I've heard a lot of Falcons love, and I think this is a indicator of people who do not watch the NFC South. Which, hey, I don't blame you. But if you do not watch the NFC South, and you understand the Bucs are going to be bad, which everyone does, then you understand that you have to pick a new division winner. So I can see where if you don't watch the teams, you're sitting there going, well, Bijan Robinson's dope, Drake London's dope, Arthur Smith seemed to get everything going last year. I think the Saints are markedly better than the Falcons. Like, way better. I think the Falcons will be competitive, but to me, the Saints are just, I don't want to say light years ahead of, but they are way better than the Falcons. And you still have Desmond Ridder, who could be the worst quarterback in the division. So you're taking potentially the worst quarterback in the division to win the division. Risky business, Mina.
For the playoffs last year, even with the best player on their team, TJ Watt, injured for much of the season and bringing on a rookie quarterback who I thought played well down the stretch. So I like them. I guess it would be a dark horse because they're not the favorite to win the division, and this is where I part ways with Damien. I'm picking the Falcons to come out of the NFC South for the simple reason that I really love everything they did this offseason. First of all, we're talking about an offense that was extremely efficient running the ball last year. I think was held back at times by some inaccuracy in the passing game. Bringing in a young quarterback who I thought looked competent at the end of last season, but the reality is his job will not be very difficult in this offense. They remind me a little bit of the San Francisco 49ers and how they're very unusual. They're going to be a lot of 2 tight end, 2 running back sets with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts split out wide. I think Arthur Smith, their head coach, is a really good play caller. And then defensively, this team probably did more than any other unit, maybe outside of Miami, in terms of personnel additions.
The Falcons feel like that young, unproven team that everyone's fallen in love with, where it's like you have a bunch of players who sound awesome, but you really don't know what they can do. Like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan. What do we know that they can do? Nothing. They sound awesome. They kind of sound like if you ever play Madden and you just draft a ton of rookies. It's like, man, my team is sweet. But the fact of the matter is you have a team full of very unproven players. And to just say that team is going to gel, that team is going to be a division winner playoff team in year one, basically, I don't know. That's a lot to ask for.
As well as
whereas you have the Saints, you have Derek Carr, you know what he can do. Michael Thomas, if he stays healthy. Chris Olave, you know what he can do. Alvin Kamara, if he's on the field, obviously. Defense, that's been good.
hiring a new defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen from the Saints. And at every level, there's talent that I'm excited about. In the back end, Jesse Bates adding the best free agent safety available up front. David Onyemata, Calais Campbell just steadying veterans. And then a guy who I actually happened to be watching this morning, Caden Ellis, linebacker out of New Orleans. Not a household name yet, but I think could be sneakily one of the best pickups of this entire offseason.
Mina, you make a compelling case about the Atlanta Falcons. I love their personnel offensively. I actually love their offensive line. I think their offensive line could be one of the better units in the National Football League. But I have to also say this. I almost picked the Carolina Panthers.
But see, that's what I'm saying with the South, is that I think if you do not watch the South, you just make the assumption that Tampa will be the worst team. And then you say, well, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Saints are kind of the same. So then you just throw a dart. And then it's just like, I'll take the Panthers. I'll take the Saints. I'll take the Falcons. And you can kind of make a case for all three if you do not watch the NFC South. I've heard this all over the place. I've heard people pick all three teams, Saints, Falcons, and Panthers. As someone who watches the South, it's going to be the Saints.
I'm bullish on the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, from week 7 on, they had the fifth best rushing attack in the National Football League. That offensive line really came on. I know defensively, I think they're going to get better defensively. But I love the infrastructure, the coaching staff of the Carolina Panthers. I think going in.
Damien, get your Wi-Fi figured out, son.
Bryce Young hits the ground running with the Carolina Panthers.
Thank you for watching ESPN.
Damien's Wi-Fi almost completely nuked the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Well, who are your four? Let's go ahead and pull up the chart for you guys. All right, so you have to put 4 in and take 4 out. Okay, have to. Only 4. Let me know in the comments below who are your 4 teams, new teams from the right side that are going into the left, and who are the 4 out. So give me in 4, out 4. I cannot wait to see in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.